Take a close look at this woman, Rebecca Hayes. She is 32 years old, a devoted mother of 2 young children, and happily married. On a crisp Tuesday afternoon in October, she walks across the parking lot in Burlington, Vermont, heading toward the medical office she has known since the day she was born. In just 47 seconds, she will push open that familiar door. She will never walk out again. 11 days later, investigators will uncover footage from a second security camera that was never supposed to exist. On that recording, something is being dragged slowly across the basement floor. Something heavy, something wrapped tightly in plastic. It will take the authorities weeks to fully comprehend what they are seeing, because the man pulling that lifeless bundle is no stranger. He is the most beloved doctor in Burlington, the physician who delivered half the babies in the city, the man who had cared for 3 generations of the same families, the trusted healer everyone adored. And that single fragment of video will not only solve the mystery of Rebecca Hayes' disappearance, it will rip open a horrifying secret that had remained hidden in that basement for more than 20 years. This is the chilling true story of Dr. Harold Brennan, a family physician with an impeccable reputation, a pillar of the community, and a cold-blooded killer who genuinely believed he was too clever to ever be caught. What Dr. Brennan did not know was that a simple clerical error made by a security company just 3 days before Rebecca vanished would become the one mistake he could never explain away. That single oversight would expose not only what happened to Rebecca Hayes, but also the nightmare that had been unfolding in his basement for more than 2 decades. Dr. Harold Brennan first opened his private practice in Burlington, Vermont, in 1993. He was only 31 years old and had just completed his residency. He rented a modest office on Church Street, right in the heart of the city. Burlington was a small, tight-knit town with a population of just under 40,000 people. It was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone else, where you might bump into your neighbors at the grocery store, and where your doctor remembered your name and always asked about your children. Dr. Brennan was exactly that kind of doctor. He did not simply treat symptoms. He knew his patients personally. He knew their families, their histories, and their struggles. People trusted him completely. By 1995, Dr. Brennan had delivered his first baby in Burlington, a little girl named Sarah Morton. Her parents had recently moved from Boston and knew no one in town. Dr. Brennan made them feel like family. Over the next 30 years, he would deliver more than 800 babies. He watched those children grow up, treating them first as infants, then as teenagers, and eventually as adults. He cared for their parents and their grandparents as well. By 2023, entire families in Burlington had never seen any other physician in their entire lives. If you asked anyone in town about Dr. Brennan, the answer was always the same. Kind, patient, compassionate, the doctor who still made house calls when a patient was too ill to come to the office. He remembered birthdays, asked about your job, and made you feel truly important. Beyond his medical practice, Dr. Brennan was deeply involved in the community. He served as president of the Burlington Lions Club from 2008 to 2012, sat on the board of the local hospital, and was a deacon at the First Presbyterian Church. Every year he provided free flu shots to families who could not afford them, and every Christmas he volunteered at the local homeless shelter. People did not merely respect Dr. Brennan, they loved him. He was the kind of man you wanted living in your town, the kind of man you felt lucky to know. And absolutely no one suspected what was happening in the basement of his office. Rebecca Hayes was born in Burlington on March 14, 1991. Her mother went into labor at 2 o'clock in the morning. Her father rushed her to the hospital, and at 4:47 a.m., Dr. Harold Brennan delivered her. Rebecca's parents had moved to Burlington only 2 years earlier, and Dr. Brennan had already become their family physician. He had cared for her mother throughout the pregnancy, and after Rebecca was born, he became her doctor too. Over the next 32 years, Dr. Brennan saw Rebecca hundreds of times, for well-baby checkups as an infant, for ear infections as a toddler, for sports physicals in high school, and for birth control counseling in college. He had been present at every major stage of her life. Rebecca trusted Dr. Brennan the way people trust someone who has always been there. He was more than her doctor. He was part of her personal history, someone she had literally known since the day she took her first breath. In 2015, Rebecca married David Hayes. They had 2 children, a son in 2016 and a daughter in 2019. Rebecca worked as a loan specialist at a local credit union, while David worked in IT for a medical company. On the outside, Their life on Maple Street in their three-bedroom home looked stable and ordinary. But in the spring of 2023, everything changed. Rebecca began an affair with a colleague named Colin Mercer. They had worked together for 3 years and had been friends before the relationship turned romantic in April 2023. Rebecca knew it was wrong. She understood she was risking her marriage, yet she could not stop. Then, in September 2023, Rebecca discovered she was pregnant. She took a home test. The result was positive. After doing the math, she realized the baby could not possibly be David's. It was Colin's. Panic consumed her. She could not tell her husband. She could not tell her family. She needed help, and the only person she felt she could turn to was the man she had trusted her entire life. The man who had known her since birth and who, she believed, would never judge her. Dr. Harold Brennan. On September 28, 2023, Rebecca called Dr. Brennan's office and requested an urgent appointment. The receptionist scheduled her for October 3rd. Rebecca had no idea that this appointment would mark the beginning of the end. On October 3rd, 2023, Rebecca arrived at Dr. Brennan's office at 2:15 p.m. She checked in at the front desk, waited in the reception area, and at 2:30 p.m. Dr. Brennan called her back. They entered his private consultation room and closed the door. Rebecca poured out everything: the affair, the pregnancy, the overwhelming panic. She asked what options she had and begged for his help. Dr. Brennan listened calmly and reassuringly. He told her he understood, that he was not there to judge, and that they would figure everything out together. For the first time in weeks, Rebecca felt a wave of relief. She trusted him completely. Then Dr. Brennan said something that changed everything. He told Rebecca that helping her would come at a price, and he made that price unmistakably clear. In that moment, Rebecca realized the man she had trusted her entire life was not who she thought he was. Court records would later reveal that Dr. Brennan attempted to coerce Rebecca into sexual acts in exchange for his assistance, framing it as a transaction. "I help you with your problem. You give me what I want." Rebecca refused. She was horrified, disgusted, and terrified. She told him no, said she would find another way, and left the office shaking. She drove home, told no one what had happened, and tried to process it alone. For the next 2 weeks, she avoided Dr. Brennan entirely. But Dr. Brennan did not let it go. On October 12th, he began calling her cell phone. She did not answer. He called again the next day and the day after that. On October 16th, he left a voicemail saying they needed to talk, that the conversation in his office had been a misunderstanding, and that he still wanted to help her. Rebecca did not return the call. On October 17th, he left another message, this time threatening that if she did not come in to discuss the matter, he would contact her husband David and reveal both the pregnancy and the affair. Rebecca knew he was serious. She knew he had the power to destroy her life. So on October 17th, 2023, Rebecca drove back to Dr. Brennan's office, hoping to reason with him, to make him understand she would never give him what he wanted and that he needed to leave her alone. She believed she could make him see sense. She was wrong. At 3:42 p.m. on October 17th, the security camera on the parking lot of Dr. Brennan's office captured Rebecca Hayes walking from her car toward the building. She was wearing jeans and a sweater and carrying her purse. She looked calm. She opened the front door and stepped inside. Those are the last images of Rebecca Hayes alive. Inside, the receptionist greeted her. Rebecca said she had an appointment with Dr. Brennan. The receptionist checked the schedule and found no entry, but Dr. Brennan, who had been listening from his office, stepped out smiling. He told the receptionist it was fine. Another appointment had canceled and he could see Rebecca now. He led her down the hallway, past the examination rooms, to a door at the very end marked storage. Behind it was a staircase leading down to the basement. He told Rebecca they could talk privately there, away from the staff. Rebecca hesitated but followed him. The door closed behind them. The basement of Dr. Brennan's office was not an ordinary storage area for medical supplies. The building had been constructed in 1952. It had concrete floors, exposed pipes, and dim lighting. Dr. Brennan used it to store old records, outdated equipment, and boxes of supplies. But there was another part of the basement, a small, hidden room in the far corner, a room with a heavy reinforced door, a room that did not appear on any building plans, a room Dr. Brennan had secretly constructed himself in 1998. No one knew it existed, And that was exactly where he took Rebecca Hayes. What happened inside that hidden basement room over the following days was later pieced together from forensic evidence, Dr. Brennan's own statements during interrogation, and the physical condition of the room when it was finally discovered. Rebecca was held captive there. The door was soundproofed. The walls had been reinforced. Inside was a folding cot, a bucket, no windows, and almost no ventilation except for a small air duct. Rebecca screamed for help, but no one heard her. She tried to break down the door, but it would not budge. She was trapped. Every day, Dr. Brennan came down to the room. He brought her water and food. He told her it would all be over soon if she would only cooperate and give him what he wanted. Rebecca refused every time. After 11 days, Dr. Brennan stopped visiting her. Rebecca Hayes died in that basement room on October 28, 2023. The cause of death was later determined to be severe dehydration and organ failure. She had been without water for more than 3 days. Dr. Brennan had simply abandoned her to die. When he returned to the basement on October 29th and found her body, he did what he had done before. He wrapped her in heavy plastic sheeting, moved her to another section of the basement behind a false wall where he had hidden things in the past, and then went back upstairs. He opened his office, saw patients, smiled, asked about their families, and acted as though nothing had happened. In his mind, Rebecca had made her choice, and now she was gone, just like the others. The next day, October 18th, Rebecca's husband David began calling her cell phone. There was no answer. He called again an hour later, still nothing. By evening, he was worried. Rebecca always answered her phone. He called her workplace. Colleagues said she had left early around 3 p.m., saying she felt unwell. He called her mother and her friends. No one had seen her. At 9:47 p.m., David Hayes reported his wife missing to the Burlington Police Department. The officer took the standard information and asked the usual questions. Were there marital problems? Any reason she might have left voluntarily? David said no, everything had been fine. The officer told him to wait. Most missing adults are found within 24 hours. David did not sleep that night. The following morning, October 19th, David filed an official missing person report. The case was assigned to Detective Lauren Voss. She interviewed David, spoke with Rebecca's colleagues, checked bank accounts, no activity since October 17th, and reviewed phone records. Rebecca's last call had been to her mother at 3:31 p.m. On October 17th, a 30-second conversation that seemed completely ordinary. Detective Voss obtained security footage from the credit union where Rebecca worked. It showed her leaving at 3:04 p.m., getting into her car, and driving away. Rebecca's car was found on October 20th, parked on a side street 6 blocks from Dr. Brennan's office. It was locked, and her purse was missing. The location was near several shops, a coffee house, a dry cleaner, and Dr. Harold Brennan's medical office. On October 21st, Detective Voss visited the office and asked the receptionist whether Rebecca had been there on October 17th. The receptionist checked the schedule and found no appointment, but Dr. Brennan overheard the question and stepped out. He told the detective that yes, Rebecca had come by around 3:30 or 4 p.m. to discuss a personal matter. They had spoken briefly in his office, after which she left through the back exit that led into an alley with no cameras. He said she had seemed upset but did not explain why. Dr. Brennan was calm, helpful, and cooperative. Detective Voss had no reason to suspect him. He was a respected physician and a pillar of the community. She thanked him and left. For the next 2 weeks, the search for Rebecca Hayes intensified. Her face appeared on the news. Posters went up all over Burlington. Volunteers searched parks, trails, and the waterfront. David gave interview after interview, pleading for information. Rebecca's mother set up a tip line, but there were no sightings and no leads. Rebecca had simply vanished. Detective Voss continued working the case. She re-interviewed everyone who knew Rebecca and reviewed security footage from every business near where the car had been found. Nothing. On November 1st, she requested security footage from Dr. Brennan's office, hoping to see Rebecca leaving through the back door. Dr. Brennan had told her there were no cameras in the back, only on the parking lot and at the main entrance. He provided the recordings. They clearly showed Rebecca entering the building at 3:42 p.m. on October 17th. There was no footage of her leaving. Dr. Brennan explained that she must have exited through the back door, which was why she was not on camera. Detective Voss accepted the explanation. She had no reason not to. What Detective Voss did not know was that 3 days before Rebecca disappeared, on October 14th, the security company SafeView Systems had been contracted to upgrade the cameras at Dr. Brennan's office. Technicians had installed new high-resolution cameras on the parking lot, at the main entrance, in the waiting room, and in the hallway. They were also supposed to install one in the storage closet on the first floor. But one technician misread the work order and installed the camera in the basement instead. He mounted it on the wall, ran the cable, connected it to the system, and only then realized his mistake. He told his supervisor, who said to leave it for now. They would fix it on the next service visit. It was not a priority. The camera remained active and continued recording. No one ever told Dr. Brennan it was there. On November 3, 2023, SafeView Systems performed a routine check of all newly installed systems. Technician Aaron Prosser was assigned to review the footage from Dr. Brennan's office. He checked the feeds from the parking lot, main entrance, waiting room, and hallway. Then he clicked on a feed he did not recognize, the basement. He fast-forwarded through hours of empty silence. Suddenly something moved. A man entered the frame dragging something heavy wrapped in thick plastic sheeting. Aaron paused the video, rewound, and watched again. The timestamp read October 29, 2023, 11:47 p.m. The man, dressed in dark clothing, struggled with the long, approximately 6-foot bundle, dragging it slowly across the concrete floor. It took him nearly 4 minutes to move it from one side of the basement to the other. He disappeared behind a stack of boxes, then reappeared without the bundle, walked back across the basement, and left the frame. Aaron Prosser did not know who the man was, but he knew what he had just seen looked terribly wrong. He saved the clip and called his supervisor. The supervisor watched it and immediately told Aaron to contact the police. At 2:14 p.m. on November 3rd, Aaron called the Burlington Police Department and reported that he had security footage from a medical office showing something suspicious. The call was forwarded to Detective Lauren Voss. She received the message at 3:08 p.m., called Aaron back, and had him send the video. When she watched it, she immediately recognized the address, 447 Church Street, Dr. Harold Brennan's office, the last place Rebecca Hayes had been seen. Detective Voss obtained a search warrant within hours. At 7:15 p.m. on November 3rd, she and 6 officers entered Dr. Brennan's office. The doctor had already gone home for the day. The officers went straight to the basement. What they discovered there triggered the largest criminal investigation in Burlington's history. After searching every corner, they found a false wall hidden behind metal shelving units that had recently been moved. Drag marks were visible on the floor. Behind the drywall was a small crawl space, and inside lay a body wrapped in plastic. It was in an advanced state of decomposition, but dental records later confirmed it was Rebecca Hayes. She had been dead for 5 days. Rebecca was not the only body in that basement. Further searching revealed a hidden room in the far corner with a soundproof door that did not appear on any building plans. Inside were clear signs that someone had been held captive recently. DNA evidence, hair, fibers, a water bottle, and fingerprints. Then investigators found a second false wall leading to another narrow space containing 3 more bodies, all wrapped in plastic and in advanced stages of decomposition. Forensic examination showed they had been there for years, one for approximately 8 years, another for about 12 years, and the third for roughly 20 years. The remains were too badly decomposed for immediate identification, but DNA testing would later confirm the horrific truth. Dr. Harold Brennan had been using that basement to imprison and murder women for more than 2 decades, and no one had ever suspected a thing. Dr. Harold Brennan was arrested at his home at 9:52 p.m. on November 3, 2023. He offered no resistance. He did not ask why he was being arrested. He simply stood up, placed his hands behind his back, and allowed the officers to handcuff him. At the police station, he was read his Miranda rights, requested a lawyer, and refused to speak. For 3 days, he sat silently in the interrogation room. On November 6th, Detective Voss showed him the basement security footage of himself dragging the plastic-wrapped bundle. Dr. Brennan watched the video with no visible emotion, then claimed it showed him disposing of medical waste, old equipment, and biohazard materials that needed to be moved to a secure storage area. He insisted the video proved nothing. Dr. Brennan's trial began on March 4, 2024. He was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder, 1 for Rebecca Hayes and 3 for the unidentified remains found in his basement, plus charges of kidnapping, unlawful imprisonment, and evidence tampering. He pleaded not guilty to all counts. His defense attorney argued that the case was built on circumstantial evidence, that the basement video was ambiguous, and that there was no direct proof linking Dr. Brennan to the deaths. The prosecution presented overwhelming forensic evidence. Rebecca's DNA in the hidden room, her fingerprints on a water bottle, her body found in his basement, the video of him moving her remains, the 3 additional bodies, the secret construction of the hidden room, the soundproofing, the reinforced door, and the precise timeline of events. Everything pointed directly to Dr. Brennan. On March 22, 2024, after 14 hours of deliberation, the jury returned guilty verdicts on all charges. Dr. Harold Brennan was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Before sentencing, David Hayes read a victim impact statement. He spoke of explaining to his children that their mother would never come home. He described his last morning with Rebecca on October 17th. The kiss goodbye, her words, "I love you." He spoke of the man who had delivered his children, the family doctor they had trusted for years, and how that same man had taken everything from them. David never once looked at Dr. Brennan, later saying that doing so would have given him too much power. The 3 unidentified bodies were sent to the Vermont State Forensic Laboratory for DNA testing, a process that took several months. On August 12, 2024, the first match was made. One victim was identified as Jennifer Cole, a 24-year-old graduate student at the University of Vermont who had disappeared on April 9, 2003, after leaving Dr. Brennan's office. Her case had gone cold for 21 years. On September 3, 2024, the second victim was identified as Michelle Grant, a 30-year-old legal assistant who had been Dr. Brennan's patient since childhood and had vanished after an appointment in 2011. The third victim's identity had not yet been confirmed at the time this account was written, but investigators believe she may be connected to the 1998 disappearance of 28-year-old Ann Pritchard, another longtime patient of Dr. Brennan. Dr. Harold Brennan is currently serving his sentence in a maximum security correctional facility in Vermont. He has filed multiple appeals, all of which have been denied. He continues to maintain his innocence, giving interviews from prison in which he claims he was framed, that evidence was planted, and that the real killer is still free. No one believes him. The city of Burlington has tried to move forward. Dr. Brennan's office building was demolished in 2024. The basement was filled in, and a small park now stands on the site. A memorial plaque honors Rebecca Hayes, Jennifer Cole, Michelle Grant, and the still unidentified victim. Families of the victims sometimes visit the park. They leave flowers, sit on the benches, and try to find some measure of peace. It is not easy. The man they trusted, the doctor who delivered their children, the healer who was supposed to protect life, turned out to be a monster who hid in plain sight for 30 years. The 2 pieces of security footage that ultimately led to Dr. Brennan's arrest, one showing Rebecca entering the building she would never leave, the other showing Dr. Brennan dragging her body across the basement floor, are now permanent parts of the case file. Those recordings, captured by cameras that were never supposed to be there, are the only reason Rebecca's family finally received answers. They are the only reason the other victims were discovered. They are the only reason Dr. Brennan is behind bars. Without them, he would still be practicing medicine, seeing patients, and enjoying the trust of an entire community, while the women in his basement remained hidden, unknown, and waiting to be found.